Maurice Mierau is known as an established Manitoban poet, but he tackles his first foray into novel writing with a very personal subject, his family.
My definition of family includes my children who are adopted, who I write about in Detachment, and it also includes my large extended biological family and my wife's family. So all those people and what they've given to me in terms of story as a writer and in terms of love and care as a human being, those are all really important to me, and those are all part of the book.
Detachment, an adoption memoir, is the life-altering journey Maurice and his wife Betsy took when they adopted two young brothers, Peter, aged 5, and Bowden, 3, from a Ukraine orphanage.
I deliberately picked a title that means a bunch of different things at the same time. So at one level, it refers to the diagnosis that my older son Peter received, which was a psychological diagnosis of attachment disorder. And attachment disorder refers to what happens to kids when their primary caregiver proves to be unreliable before they're 5 years old. And that's what happened to Peter and his younger brother Bowden. They were abandoned by their mother and went into the Ukrainian orphanage system. And we adopted them when they were 3 and 5 years old. So anyway, if you have attachment disorder, what that means is you stop trusting the adults who are your primary caregivers. And of course that can cause challenges when you adopt a child who has difficulty trusting you.
Detachment is a snapshot look at a period of time between 2005 and 2010, covering the lengthy process to adopt the boys, bringing them home, and then trying to bond as a family. After a blissful year of happiness, Peter, the oldest son, began to detach from his father and family. He began to have trouble at school and eventually running away. During this time, Maurice was also dealing with issues of his own.
I myself, partly because of my relationship with my father, who was a war refugee and had his own traumas in his childhood, I myself cope with emotional stress by detaching myself from situations that I'm in. And I did that with my sons. And I write about that. It was part of our family formation was that I had to get over that.
Maurice has learned more about himself, his relationship with his dad, and more importantly, with his boys.
So we're way better off now. And you know, Peter in particular has grown up a lot and is in some ways a different person from the period depicted in the book. He's really adjusted and bonded with us, and we have a lot of trust in him. Both of them are dealing, they're adolescents now, they're 13 and 15 years old, and they're both dealing with the typical identity issues that kids deal with at that age, but maybe those identity issues are more acute when you've been adopted internationally, you've learned a new language, you've come into a new culture, you've had all this change in your life, and you know very little about your biological family. So, you know, both of them are going to continue to deal with identity issues.
And as a parent of adopted children, Maurice has this to say.
You know, if I could go back in time, which is impossible, and if I could read my own book at that time, which is equally impossible, I would read it, because I think that people need to get a perspective on what adoption and, you know, all these different kinds of family formation, what that's really like with less sugarcoating, so that people have a realistic perspective going in.
For Go Winnipeg, I'm Tracy Koga.